Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw.
I think that the evolution of Sea Shepherd from an organization to a movement has worked out really well.
Mm-hmm. One half of the spirit of this podcast is the idea that every second is a gift. We are just voyagers on this incredible spaceship. You have a 15-year-old who looks and is thinking, okay, I want to do something. So what can you say to any of those people to say, okay, look, this is what you can actively do?
No, you find out what you're passionate about and then follow that passion by harnessing your skills and your ability to both the virtues of courage and imagination.
Mm-hmm.
You can change the age. In fact, younger people are probably far more passionate about these things. I mean, look what Greta Thunberg has been able to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
People have an intuitive understanding. And what our educational systems do is they beat that intuition out of us. So what I say to young people, I don't tell young people anything. I try to encourage their intuition and their imagination.
Mm-hmm. With regard to marine ocean conservation, what would you say right now is a pressing concern?
Diminishment of species is far more of a threat than climate change. In fact, it's one of the contributors to climate change. And what we're seeing right now is a massive diminishment of species and ecosystems, marine ecosystems, and also a diminishment of species on land and terrestrial ecosystems. This is a cause for a lot of concern. The world is rapidly changing, and we're fabricating those changes through our behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, for instance, we're involved with this COVID-19 virus. And, since 1995, I've been predicting that this is going to get worse and worse. Because why do you have these emerging zoonotic transmission of viruses? Because of the destruction of ecosystems and the diminishment of species.
Mm-hmm.
And as these species are diminished, the viruses associated with those species need somewhere to go, and we're a very attractive host. So since 1995, you've seen the rise of Ebola and SARS and MERS and West Nile and Zika and AIDS and all these things like this, even before. And all of this is because of what we're doing to this planet. And now, added to zoonotic transmission of viruses, you've got emerging pathogens coming out of the permafrost.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a couple of years ago, Siberia, 200,000 a year were killed by anthrax from a pathogen that emerged from the permafrost. We are creating a situation where we're rapidly becoming aliens on our own planet.
Mm-hmm.
That is, that this planet might not be able to support us, and we'll be walking around on the Earth with spacesuits.
Here's what's interesting to me is fundamentally what you're demanding is a balance between human behavior and our place within the biosphere as a part of it, as not as above or separate to it. So how often have you heard the accusation that you, Captain Paul Watson, are a deeply committed humanist, that one of your major concerns is to help humanity find its place, to get its act together?
Well, I'm just saying that unless human beings learn to live in harmony with all other species, that we're not going to survive. That basic laws of ecology, the law of diversity, the strength of an ecosystem lies within diversity within it, the law of interdependence, that all of those species are interdependent with each other, and the law of finite resources, that there's a limit to growth, a limit to carrying capacity. And what we're doing is we're stealing the carrying capacity from other species, which results in diminishment of both interdependence and diversity. And that's not going to lead to anything any world that we're going to be able to live in.
If there is a kind of joyful leadership in your own life, what in there brings a smile to your face or a sense of deep satisfaction?
What gives me the most joy is being out with nature, whether that be on the ocean or my favorite place in the world is Antarctica, or being in the mountains. It doesn't really matter. I take great pleasure in seeing other species. I take great pleasure in just seeing the natural world for being what it is. And it also motivates me to do everything I can to see that that's not destroyed. One of the problems that we have with humanity is our ability to adapt to diminishment, that we just keep accepting less and less and less. And I don't want people to get what we have. Stop just accepting that it's going to be less. I mean, look how much we accept and we don't even think about it. 1965, the very idea, if I were to tell you that in 40 years' time you'd be buying water in plastic bottles and paying more for that water than the same amount of gasoline, you would have looked at me like I'm crazy. Nobody's going to do that. Yet here we are.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one message I like to get across to people is, just stop accepting diminishment.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything you would like to say to fuel the emerging undiscovered Greta Thunberg out there who's just waiting to come out and step forward? Because it takes a certain courage, or it takes a certain spark or catalyst. So what kind of catalyst or spark would you put out into the world to try to encourage that?
I think everybody should understand that each and every one of us has the power to make a difference. And all we have to do is harness that passion that we have for whatever it is that we're passionate about to courage and imagination. Because of Diane Fossey, we still have mountain gorillas in Rwanda. Because of David Wingate, the Bermuda storm petrel did not go extinct. So many examples of how one individual has changed the world for the better. And I can't think of a more noble cause than because you live, a species didn't go extinct or an ecosystem wasn't destroyed. That's far more noble than anything else I can think of. Fighting. When people join the Sea Shepherd, the one question I ask when they want to join the crew is, I said, are you prepared to risk your life to protect a whale? And when people say, well, that's asking a lot, I said, why is that asking a lot? We ask young people all the time to risk their life to kill people over property, real estate, oil, religion. I think it's a far more noble thing to take that risk to protect an endangered species or to prevent the extinction of a species. Mm-hmm. But again, society, an anthropocentric society where we don't really take into account the concerns of non-humans and how important they are to our own survival. We don't live in a planet without bees or whales or trees. We need them. They don't need us.
100%. Shooting it raw.